Yes, sir, we promised you a great main event match.
This is classic.
Andre, the
WrestleMania!
Hulkamania
is running wild.
The world is listening.
Real Kick Radio.
You shocked them once and twice with the big pronouncement that this lovely young lady to your right, Elizabeth, would act as your manager.
Oh, I stunned them, didn't I? I left them sitting on their ear, standing on their whatever, anything goes. Yeah.
By the way, Randy, if I just may interrupt here.
Yes, me.
Elizabeth, I've got to compliment you on that. Just outstanding jewelry. That is very, very attractive on a very attractive lady, I might add.
Thank you very much.
Wait a minute. I didn't tell you to talk, did I? Did I tell you to say anything? No, I told you to say nothing. Didn't I tell you that? And you said you're sorry right there. You said something else, man. Don't you understand?
Hey, what is this? I don't think
that.
Hey, what?
Get out of here. Just go on and sit over there. You understand that?
Randy Savage, with all due respect, that is pretty tough.
No, it isn't. No, in fact, that's super low-key right there. That ain't nothing. That was real bad.
I don't want to get into anything else, you might.
Danny Richardson. That is super low-key right there. That's what that is.
That is real low-key.
How are you feeling today, Mr. Danny Richardson? I imagine you're devastated given the news.
I'm a little sad. I'm suffering from what I coined macho sadness.
Oh, is that the new slang term that's going around?
That's my hashtag to express how you're dealing with it.
Did you come up with it, or are you like the 4,000th person?
I'm the first person I saw use it. I haven't seen it since. I'm sure it's out there. It wasn't that hard to think of.
Now, what I read from you this week was a little surprising. I thought on Monday Night Raw they did a great job of celebrating macho sadness. They showed a video of some highlights. It was emotional. I almost cried myself. They had Coldplay, which is just the arrow to my chest. And I tweeted, Danny Richardson must have cried during this. Then I read what you said. You said, just deserved more than a video, is your exact quote.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I just felt like there was more, and I don't know what I wanted. Like, I mean, part of me, I guess I wanted to see them come out and do, like, the 10-bell salute or something like that. But they're not going to do that. It was days removed from the actual happening. I don't know. I would have liked to have seen highlights maybe throughout the night. I mean, you just finished 2-3 weeks ago. You did a whole Raw based around The Rock's birthday.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that did nothing to benefit anyone and barely moved that storyline. So you tell me you couldn't devote more time to one of the guys that is, one of the, main pillars of what wrestling is today.
But the point is that the birthday is what kids love. Everyone has a birthday. But with kids, nobody dies. They have no idea they're going to die someday. So if you sit there and start throwing, this guy's dead and this is why we're sad about it, kids are going to start rethinking existence. And then the whole society falls down. Especially, the WWE universe falls down.
Do you think the kid thing's a reason why? Because the other thing I was upset about is that the video got pushed all the way to the end, where I felt it should have been one of the first things out the gate should have been mentioned.
What is this? Like, you feel, are you Miss Elizabeth? Wait, she's dead too. Are you one of his long lost stepsons? Why are you taking this personally? They showed his picture at the beginning, which I loved. They showed his video, which I loved. I mean, I think you would have only been happy if they did a Chris Benoit tribute style, where they just spend the whole night in an empty arena, just with a candle lit on the fucking commentator's desk as they sadly discuss memories.
I would have watched it, and I would have told you how it was the best Raw I've seen in years.
Danny Richardson, it is the whole fucking show on the wholefuckingshow.info, fucking show on Twitter, fucking show podcast on YouTube, the whole fucking show on Facebook. I'm also on WeHitAndRun.info. Danny Richardson, I am Kevin Scampoli, but here's the thing. That's only my name if you don't know better. If you don't have an internet connection. If you don't have a little thing called the E-Wrestling Almanac, where you might see me as Ivan Cage, known for beating Tommy Styles, Anthony Cutler, Stephon Waters. I'm a 3-time IW champion, Danny Richardson. I once was in a match where there was a car in the ring with a Hell in a Cell around the ring. It was that amazing, and I am joined by the man himself.
I'm Danny Richardson. I'm Primetime. Normally at this point, I would talk about the real-life wrestling, but I want to bring up some of my EFED career this week. I was looking back at one of the EFEDs that I actually ran, and I got a little misty-eyed about that. I was missing the good old days. I put a lot of time and hours. I put more time into running this e-fed than I did my actual schoolwork when I was in high school.
Oh, I definitely did too, and that's probably why I was a high school dropout. I think I blame e-wrestling for that. And my first character, Ernest the Cat Miller, why not? One of the greatest on the mic of all time. I'm the greatest, call my mama. Who was your first e-wrestling character?
It was prime time because I started it right at the time we started doing the wrestling. I met a guy in a wrestling chat room, and I started talking to him, and he mentioned that he did fantasy wrestling, and I was like, I have no idea what that is. So then he turned me on to it. So I had already had like the concept for the character, and I ran with that.
I met a guy in a wrestling chat room that said, child pics, I'm going to send the authorities to your house. And I was so scared that night. Remember that story?
Yeah, no, as I say, you told that story. I love that story.
I'm hoping to fit that in like it's a new story, like every week or two. Whenever we bring up wrestling chat rooms, that's one of the most horrifying moments of my life. That was only trumped by the happiness I was to find what had to have been the fakest naked China picture ever. It's just this Asian broad with like it's that angle where they're laying down, but the camera's down at the vagina, so you just see your face, nothing like China. I remember, I was lying to myself. Then just a big black puss.
Wasn't that a great era for internet porn too? Like when you would find fakes, but you weren't internet savvy enough to realize that because you'd see their face on a naked body, like it had to be real. You had no idea why they posed for this picture where three dudes are banging them from every direction, but you see it, so it had to be real.
I was still playing that shitty fucking skiing game that came on Windows 95, so I didn't know anything about gaming. I didn't know anything about the internet. I just thought I could go to everyone's computer, and I snuck into China's, and now I'm rubbing one out in my living room, and hopefully my brother doesn't come home from work. I forget when he went in.
I remember going to the college because we didn't have a computer, and going to the college to use their free library and use the internet, and they had free printer, like you could print stuff for free back then. And I went to the WWF website and pulled up every wrestler's like logo. That's when they used to put effort into like how they wrote them. Like we talked about, Shawn Michaels had the broken heart, like the bleeding heart with his name all fancily written and everything.
Yeah.
I got to every wrestler in their logo and printed them up, and it was like 46 pages of logos. And the guy from the library came over and just looked at me, and he shook his head, and he was like, "Is this for school?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm working on a project." And he just walked away, but I felt like shit for doing it.
I thought I was bad for the custom football playbook I recently found in an attic, but you're walking around with black and white, low quality printouts of shitty logos.
No reason to want these things. There was nothing I was going to do with them, but I was so starved for wrestling at that time that I had to have them.
Yeah, wrestling fans don't really know why they want things. Like wrestling belts probably like I want one so bad, but I know once I have it, it's just going to hang or go in a closet. Like I don't know why I want it, but I want it. And then I also don't even know why I fall for the show every week, but I do. Like why are these Irish whips believable? And I sometimes when I'm really high, which I'm not quite that high yet, Danny Richardson, right now. But when I'm really high watching it, I start to think, why do I like this again? And I can't really think of it except, like, Botchamanias is so great to me. I think I like the idea that, yes, I know these are performers, and I kind of hope they mess up and get embarrassed. And it's still, I don't know who's going to win, so it's kind of like no one does.
Yeah, I went through a phase several years back, and probably like early 2000s, where I had that same thought where I couldn't figure out why I was watching wrestling. Like, and I remember just thinking, like, I don't really care about the match itself. All that I was like, only part that matters is the end. So all I cared about was who won. So I would not pay attention to the matches until they were over, so I could see who won or lost and then where the story went. But for some reason, I just toned out where I'm like, none of this fake wrestling stuff matters. I don't care that these guys wrestle for 8.5 minutes and, with clotheslines and dropkicks. Like you said, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, and did you know you'd be talking for hours a week, and then and on top of the video game you play for hours a week about wrestling?
Yeah, secretly, I guess I knew I'd always get sucked back, and it could have been I could have been a victim of just that was a real slump in wrestling. So maybe wrestling was just so uninteresting to me that it was hard for me to put full effort into it that I had done for the first half of my life there.
Well, no, you seriously try to sit down and put on any wrestling, like any pay-per-view. Like I tried to put on the latest TNA Sacrifice. I didn't know who won. I was all excited, but just have a computer near you. I fucking didn't look up once. I have no idea who won any match because I was just online, not even paying attention to the TNA nonsense. But also in WWE, Am I crazy, or do the crowds look a lot smaller now? Is there a lack of a tier up top, or it seems like they're at a less sharp angle type of thing, and it seems like they took out a lot of the seats in each arena.
I think they're doing smaller venues than what they were at one point because and not just for wrestling, but I think most entertainment factors are having trouble selling out to arenas. And so I think they've switched to it feels like they switched to doing smaller venues than what they used to because it's hard to get people to go out and spend their money. And, I read today that SmackDown's going to be, here in town in August. And I didn't give it any consideration whether I'm going to go. I'm not going to pay my money to go see SmackDown. Like, I'll watch it on TV for free and have a better seat than what I would in the arena.
Well, you use the worst example. I'm not paying my money to see SmackDown, but I'm fucking going to SummerSlam, and I don't get why you have a problem with that.
I'm all for you going to SummerSlam. I'm never going to try to stop you on that.
I definitely don't believe they're doing smaller venues. They're still doing arenas. What are you talking about? Where'd this come from? Did you ever research this?
But no, I haven't. I'm just guessing. But I feel like that they're doing smaller arenas than what they did like at their peak, obviously, like in the late 90s and stuff. I mean, some of them are going to still be the same ones because that's all they had. But when they go to the bigger towns, it's easier. But I think they stick to the towns that they know they can sell to.
I really feel like there's somebody listening that wants me to tell you to shut the fuck up, Danny Richardson. What are you talking about? Smaller venues. They're doing arenas. I know that. I'm talking about it looks like an arena. You see arenas, right? You know that it looks like one. Yeah. But the crowd looks different, doesn't it? Or am I crazy? It must if you think they're all of a sudden in a gym.
What really looks different to you? Do you think it's the camera angle of it?
Well, going back to the Attitude Era, like they'd have that rafters angle where you see the top tier, and you're always like, "What are you doing there?" And then you have like a mid area, then the floor. Now it seems like the floor not folds up, but it's like a plane. It just goes at an angle, and then there's the top tier. Like they took out a big middle section.
It'd have to be the camera angle then, and maybe it's. I was gonna say maybe they just don't do because they used to do a lot more of it seemed like the panning around, especially in the opening, just showing the whole arena. And I don't feel like you see that as much anymore.
The crowds are shorted because they're all kids from the chat. Mr. Byrne noticed. Good point. That the PG era will do that to you. It's just the height of the crowd is a little different, so it looks funny.
And doesn't it feel like back in the Attitude Era there was a lot more people just standing and holding up their signs? Like when they would start Raw, it was a sea of wrestling signs. And like they're still there, but I don't feel that there's that intensity from the crowd either, and that may be the same.
Well, how about this? Our wrestlers today, are they A-level celebrities, B-level celebrities, or C-level, or none? Like, what are they? They on cable, they're the number one show on cable. With Raw. I know SmackDown, or is that SmackDown? Whichever one's on cable. And then the other show does great too. What is it? They have bigger ratings than the NBA at some weeks.
Yeah.
Are they A-level celebrities?
Are you talking about to us or to the common person?
The common person in general.
They're definitely not A-level. I would say C-level at best, and that's taking the top guys.
You're not even giving them B-level?
I mean, no, I don't think that's how people see him. There's such a stigma on wrestling. I don't think that people look at them as real celebrities. If you're not into wrestling, you don't know who these guys are. You don't care.
I don't know, but the amount of viewers they get consistently, longest running shows, I'm actually about to say the announcers are A-level. I think just Michael Cole is a household name, A-level celebrity. Kofi Kingston is what every kid fears, at least in my neighborhoods. And I'm telling you, they're on everyone's mind.
See, you're doing it from the standpoint of the wrestling fan. But
to
the average person, just walking around, if you don't watch wrestling, you think nobody watches wrestling. You're like, oh, that was, I watched that when I was a kid, and you think only kids watch it, only rednecks watch it. Nobody really watches wrestling. So if you had a chance, say you didn't watch either, if you had a chance to meet somebody from like Jersey Shore or somebody from wrestling and you didn't watch either show, you would think the people from Jersey Shore are bigger celebrities than wrestlers.
And they might be, actually, because it really is, like you said, the stigma of wrestling. It's the industry they're in. Regardless of the viewers are looked down upon, and so is the so-called art of what they're doing. Also from the chat, Matt Marvel, they're C-level wrestlers. So they're not even
that might be the problem.
Yeah, that could be an issue. But all right, divas. And are the divas on a celebrity level above the wrestlers?
No.
Yeah.
What? No, get out of it. They're the worst. The problem right now with the divas is there's way too many of them. I don't know any of their names.
No,
I know Karma, and that's it.
Well, I know there's the Bella twins, but I feel like they're all twins. I thought the Bella twins were just what you call divas now. They all look the same. It's the same fucking person, and they look trashy. Like the last big diva, Trish Stratus. Oh no, Mickey James. Would you put her in the level of a Sunny, a Mickey James?
No.
A Trish? No.
No, it's Mickey James. She's definitely a notch below all those.
Well, it might be those hardcore porn pics that I can't stop Googling when I'm getting BJs. Do you ever Google porn when you're getting BJs, or is that just me?
While I'm getting the BJ? No, not during.
You're doing the BJ. This is completely different than any question I've ever asked. But who was the last cock you sucked? I feel like that's the next question.
Well, I told you about my wrestling career, right?
Yes, you did. Oh, who's the promoter? Oh, you're the gayest. But the fact that you make jokes about it makes it acceptable. That's what you got to do. You got to say, look, I hate gay people, but I can make myself the brunt of the joke.
All right, I'll roll with that.
You're homophobic, huh?
I'm going the Roddy Piper route.
You're homophobic. Interesting.
I'm a big homophobe. I'm going to beat the gay out of you.
So, all right, how about this? Who is the ultimate diva of all time? Who is when you think diva, she's the, and, oh, man, I got to put the chat away. Kelly. Well, she's the best of the cream of the crop now, but like I said, it's like being a piece of cream corn in a pile of shit.
She's the best looking one that's out there right now, and I think that might be arguable depending on who you are. But like she to me is the best looking one they have. But there's so many of them that in the grand scheme, I think Kelly's going to be forgettable. Yeah. Like when Sunny was around, Sunny was the only one. So Sunny's very memorable. And Sunny was the very first one to do the sex appeal thing, like to that level. Then Sable came in. I mean, you're really, again, she's one of the only ones around. And even when you get into the later years, when you get into Trish, Lita, Terry Runnels was there. Like, they were there, and there was still, 7 of them, women in wrestling, Tori, Stacey Keeler, but there wasn't that many of them, and they were all very distinct. Like, each one had a distinct look and a different purpose and a different, like, almost fan base. Like, you had a reason why you thought each one was better than the other.
Well, all right, how about this?
They all are built the same now. They're all going to look the same, and she's not going to stand out enough to distance herself from the rest of them.
Well, when you're talking all time, then we definitely need to have Sunny. We need to have Sable. We need to have Miss Elizabeth. She has to be in the discussion. She's basically that era. No Sherry, no. No Luna Vachon, no. But how about Trish Stratus? Are we putting her in even the topic, or is she expected to just get booted out easily by Sunny, Sable, or Elizabeth?
Are we making a top 5 or
no, one
automatic number 1?
Divas don't deserve 5. We're talking about definitive face of the female wrestling history.
I think there is a section of the audience that would put Trish in it. I don't know that she'll make my cut, but I think she earns that spot. I think she goes in there. She's got longevity over the rest of them. I think she was there for a long time.
Long time, but not a lot of meaningful years. I mean, a lot of it was TNA and not the organization, Danny. I'm actually talking about the tag team, which was just a desperate attempt to throw two fledgling guys together, and it worked out, I guess. And she was with that. The great thing was that they picked her up and put her in the ring. Awesome. But that's a wasted how many years? When did she actually become important in the face of her own era, let alone all time?
Then they moved her into she did the Vince McMahon angle for a while.
All right, she's out. Now we're down to Elizabeth, who, with a glorious death, might have to win. Or from the chat, we're getting a big Sable. Sable seems to be the one, but I'm still putting Sunny above Sable.
I think, and the reason why we have these three is they're all different. Liz was the first woman in wrestling to be attractive. And like when you look back now, you're like, she wasn't hot like in the same one these other ones are. But I mean, she was, I don't know, she was like classy, good looking.
Sable?
No, Liz. I don't know really how to describe her looks.
Well, actually, now that I brought up Sable, let me just say she was barely as good looking as people claim. She looked old. She had fucking wrinkles on her eyes and black hands always on her tits. She never had nipples. I didn't get that.
I feel like you're thinking more. I think early Sable, like 97, 98 Sable, I think she looked good. When they brought her back just a few years later, with, in like the early 2000s, that Sable aged really fast. She did not hold up well.
All right, so let's pit them. Let's pit them. What? That could be a frightening suggestion or just an honest what I meant by it. Simple nothing. And let's go with the frightening version. Get them up against the wall. We'll fuck their asses and we'll pick a winner. Whoever shits first is out, first of all. But no, let's put Miss Elizabeth versus Sable 1-on-1. And I think Miss Elizabeth's fucking mute ass needs to get a savage backhand out of this discussion.
Yeah, she's in the discussion by default. Like, she didn't really do anything. She didn't have, she didn't bring anything to her character. Her character was like a woman that secretly got abused, when they went home.
And her awkwardness, like we were even discussing this before we even hit record, and that her awkwardness would never work today, but for some reason it made her character, everyone else around her, combined with her awkwardness, made her great. Like you didn't want to think that Ric Flair fucked her. Like, Ric Flair is such an asshole, and she's so innocent and awkward. And now he has nude pictures. Like, what? That is one of my, and I was too young to even understand it, and it's still in one of my top storylines and most emotional for me as a child that I've ever seen. And just the savage beating her. You don't want to see that. Like, she doesn't deserve that. She doesn't even talk back. She barely talks.
I loved the nude picture storyline with Ric Flair. I totally spaced that, but I remember ordering the pay-per-view and they were going to fight because Flair and Perfect promised that they were going to put it up on the Jumbotron. During the match, they were going to put these pictures up. And I remember thinking, like, I can't believe they're going to show this. This is so crazy. Like, how can Flair get away with this? But being really disappointed that this was never acknowledged during the pay-per-view or explained later on why they didn't put the pictures up.
Well, they were intimidated by Macho Man's macho-ness. What a terrible name! I know you love Savage, but the Macho Man.
And it's a double thing because he's first of all, Macho Man. It was like a horrible name, and then you combined it with Randy Savage, like it was trying to beat you over the head with it.
Yeah, he is the fucking pickup truck of wrestlers, but he wasn't. And who knows? Maybe he'll be in Kevin Scampoli's dream card later.
Well, he made Danny Richardson's dream card, so
we remember that.
No pressure there.
We remember that piece of cream corn on a pile of shit. And
the one you said would be, would you give it like a 3 out of 5?
Barely, too. I'm thinking 2.8
compared to regular pay-per-views too.
Please listen to Danny Richardson's garbage dream card last week. But all right, so I'm thinking it's just as easily down to Sonny and Sable, back-to-back eras, and for me, it might just be the childhood memories. Or she really was the most beautiful. That fucking star tattoo. No little fucking 11-year-old kid should be staring at that. So sexually as I was, grabbing my little kid hairless cock and just wishing I knew what to do with it. Just staring at staring at that, then looking at the tattoo. Staring at my dick, looking at the tattoo. What does it all mean? And then Sable, I'm just jerking off to her and she taught me. Now, what the fuck just happened? I wanted to bring up Sable's Playboy. Does that give her credit or take credit away? And who's your pick?
Yeah, it should give her credit, but doesn't it somehow hurt them? Like, you want nothing more than to see them naked, and then once you do, you're like,
No, I love it every time. Tori Wilson was the biggest one for me.
Oh, what?
Really? She's the best looking of all of them. She has Kelly looks.
I would have thought China was the big one for you.
And honestly, probably, but just as far as admitting in public, it had to have been Tori Wilson. Because Billy Kidman, I imagine, just had a great anus and strong cock, and to see what that thing went into was really big for me. I just saw wife beaters all over their hotel room floor.
All right, so who I would pick, I think there's two different answers. My favorite of all time is probably Sunny because of the same reason you had. It was, it's for my own personal, like, I just loved her so much then. But I think Sable, because of the era she was in, more fans know her, more fans watched her, bigger crowds, and she was allowed to take what Sunny brought. Sunny was the first one to sex up being a woman in wrestling, and Sable took it to the next level, where Sunny would have never been able to get away with the stuff that Sable did.
Please show me a hotel room fucking gallery of pictures where Billy Kidman's jean shorts are inside out in front of a bed and just some shitty wife beaters next to it, and then just some Simpsons boxers or whatever the fuck you wore. But yeah, I think I have to agree, because as much as I love Sunny, Sable got to do everything. Like Sunny was just an LOD manager after a while. Sable had a great heel character with the Sable Bomb shirts and the 38 special and the grind. And I don't know, as much as I don't think she was as beautiful, like you said, much bigger era. You're talking about Sunny in the lowest era, Sable in the biggest, and Sable being like just as important, if not more. So
we've talked about before, Sunny in 1996, there was nothing more you wanted than to see her naked. And then when it finally happens, it wasn't good.
You know you want me. Whose song is that?
That
you know
would be
you
Sunny's.
want me. Yeah. How did it go? Like this? You know you want me.
I think it was I Know You Want Me, Reza. I don't know. I might be doing Shawn Michaels' song.
But what was after that? You just go, yeah.
I didn't listen to it. I just watched the Titantron over and over.
Oh, what a shitty question to ask another person. All right, so after I Know You Want Me, what does it say? Yeah? And then they go, yeah, I think so. All right, YouTube it. But Danny Richardson, we've wasted enough time on Divas. We wasted more time on Divas than Raw did this week, which is shocking.
Yeah.
Actually,
I like. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, speaking of which, we got Divas in WWE, we got Knockouts in TNA. That is my segue into a completely unrelated question.
Who's got the better women's division right now?
They're both awful, but WWE. Just because this shitty I'm a slave to you gimmick going on in TNA that was supposed to be over at the pay-per-view. This goes on longer than any Michael Cole angle I've ever seen. Plus, I love Mickie James, though, but she's one porn picture away. Like, as soon as I see the finish to this last one, I finished all of them. She's one more finishing to a porn picture away from being old news.
If you'd have asked me, I guess it'd be a year ago, maybe a little more. It would be TNA hands down. Because they had enough variety, and they had.
Stop. You're fucking embarrassing.
Just because you weren't watching TNA a year ago and you have no idea what their women's division looked like.
You're embarrassing me in front of my friends. I don't care. I know you like Karma before she was Karma, but come on.
Awesome Kong. Somebody in the chat, they mentioned ODB. They had Kong. The Beautiful People. They had I don't even remember her name. There's the Asian chick that was doing hardcore wrestling.
China.
And then Daphne from WCW was there for a little bit. I just like that they were all different. They didn't all look the same. I like them to have some character.
I'm so mad at you. I don't even know why you're telling me this. I hate what you just said. And so, all right, how about this? As a whole, which company, because they're heading in completely opposite directions. And from the chat, TNA. What the fuck? People are picking TNA knockouts over WWE Divas now. Is this real? Or
because they can actually wrestle, and they like I said, they don't all look the same. There's something more interesting about them. But right now, the storylines are horrendous for the knockouts. But they're not any better for the women's. The only storyline for the Divas is Karma.
Well, let me tell you, the Divas look way better in fast forward motion than the knockouts do.
And that's fair because I fast forward both. I couldn't even sit here and pretend that I watch either.
And also, WWE kind of knows to cut down on the time of the segments, so it kind of goes by faster. So I love those Divas for just moving right along. But as a company, WWE completely bans the word wrestling, rebrands themselves from World Wrestling Entertainment to WWE. This is all nothing new, Danny. You should know this. I shouldn't have to fucking come here and teach you. I shouldn't have to Dean Douglas this shit every week with you. I might as well have a chalkboard over here. Fucking. Anyway, so they're going that direction. TNA responding, changing the name of Impact to Impact Wrestling, which I love the new colors. Now they're stressing wrestling. Every fucking promo, I'm a wrestler. Like, me and Jim were just cracking I'm a wrestler jokes all night watching TNA. I wish I just wrote them down. They're so funny. But everything's a wrestling reference. Which company's direction do you like better?
So the company as a whole. So we moved away from just women's wrestling.
Yeah, I fast forwarded right through. This is the DVR right now.
The company as a whole. It has to be WWE. I'm fanboy for them, and I'm not going to hide that. So I'm always going to root for them to prevail, and I have faith in them that whenever they go into a slump, I know they'll come out strong eventually. TNA, I don't feel has enough history to make me believe that they're going to pull off anything really special.
You must not have any friends. Let me tell you why. Because you're wrong all the time. I've never been a.
You didn't watch TNA a month ago. Your first TNA match was Sting and Jeff Hardy,
and I loved it.
It was a minute and a half.
I loved it. I loved Sting's jacket, which he could have worn for the whole thing, and it would have made just as much sense. But no, I've never been one to pick TNA up and say, "Look at this! Look what I found!" Dust it off a little bit. But this, what they're doing is brilliant. Now, there's a whole segment of the wrestling audience who does not want fucking kid shit, who wants wrestling, and those are the most passionate wrestling fans, the internet, we can call them. And TNA is playing right into them. And also, you look back in the Attitude Era, that's what made WCW so shitty, is that they played into the internet. That's all they fucking thought about. Everything was an inside joke. Just watch a couple Botchamanias. But with this is perfect. So when the average person is going, and where's my point coming from? I got 2 points here. The average person point and the wrestling fan point. When the average person is going through the dial, they say Impact Wrestling, they'll know what it is, and it might turn them on to it. For a hardcore wrestling fan, to actually, there's part of it that's like, great wrestling, that's what I want. Then the other half is the acknowledgement of WWE. It's almost like they're taking shots at WWE when they say wrestling. It's so blatant. And it's almost exciting for a drama-loving wrestling community.
So, now, before you completely went over
I'm
the
high.
internet wrestling community
I'm
here,
so high right now. I don't even know what I just said.
I barely followed you, but I got where you're going. But I'm gonna point something out to somebody that may not know and is like ready to believe that you're on this TNA bandwagon.
Love them.
Tell the people what you think of the X Division.
All right, let's start with this. Impact Wrestling is such a great name. On top of that, I'm getting to it.
Point.
I'm getting to it. The blue color is awesome.
Yeah, SmackDown did it 10 years ago.
And let me tell you, the show looks great, both of them. But one of them references wrestling.
And you don't watch either.
And I was so happy this week when Abyss fucking destroyed the shitty X Division from my TV set.
You hate how could you prefer TNA right now and hate the X Division at the same time?
Because the X Division doesn't exist. It's a myth. How is there an X Division title where some little fag can have it and then Abyss can have it? It's not even weight divisions anymore. What does it mean? What is an X Division?
It's one of those things that they can't even explain. I think
the matches different?
It's more the style of wrestling.
Well, Abyss is that style? No or yes?
No, and that's the thing. They wrote him in. They did it a while back with Bubba Ray, where Bubba Ray won it, and he's clearly twice the size of everybody else. So, I mean, he was just destroying everything X Division, and it made him look like shit.
Is Samoa Joe that style?
Yeah, somehow. It's that indie Ring of Honor style wrestling. And Samoa Joe can put on those matches, even though he's a bigger guy.
No, here's the thing. You're not supposed to... you don't put a name on stuff like that.
I agree. The concept doesn't work. But so do you at least like the matches?
No.
Okay, so why not? Because what is, regardless if we called it an X Division,
because
I just told you I have, Amazing Red and one of the guys from the Motor City Machine Guns, you wouldn't want to watch that match.
No, it's because I hate Abyss matches, and he's the X Division champion.
That's not an argument anymore.
Let me tell you why.
We took Abyss out of this. No Abyss. I'm taking two small guys here. Alex Shelley, Amazing Red. You don't want to watch that match.
I don't want to watch any Kazarian matches. I don't want to watch a fucking Robbie E match. Is he an X Division style now? Huh?
I think they're pushing him that way.
Come on. It doesn't even make sense. No one even knows what it means. You're putting a name on a nondescript style of wrestling, which shouldn't have a title. It should just be what it is. It almost takes it away when you name it.
I agree with you on that concept, but I'm just saying, if I put that match on TV, would you watch that match?
Not if the belt...
Regardless of what I call it.
I would. I know what I would do. I'd go, bring out Hogan and Bischoff. Let's hear some talking. That's what I'm all about. I like the entertainment.
You should love WWE over TNA. They're way better at the entertainment aspect.
Thank you for pointing out my joke. But Kurt Angle, he was an X Division champion. Is he that style?
Was he an X Division champion?
He had every belt one time, remember? He was like me in fucking SmackDown vs. Raw when CM Punk had every Raw belt, and I almost gave him the SmackDown title just for fun.
No, he wouldn't be an X. I don't know. I agree with you. I don't like the concept
Thank you.
But I do enjoy the matches.
But here's the thing: the matches exist whether or not the belt exists. The belt
I
has no
agree,
worth.
but you don't watch the matches regardless of the belt or not.
What belt? So Danny Richardson.
You wouldn't watch the matches regardless, and I'm saying the people that you were trying to appeal to by loving TNA and loving what they do, the hardcore fan base, they love those matches. They would love to turn on their TV and see 20 minutes of reversals and submissions and top rope maneuvers. They love that style.
I love that stuff. I love AJ Styles.
I've asked you 15 times if you'd watch that match, and you've said no every time.
No, because the two guys you brought up were some generic fucking I have a body idiots with no personality.
They don't care who it is. They'll watch that match because wrestling wise, they feel like it's a great match. They don't care about the character, the backstory, charisma. If these guys are interesting, none of that stuff matters to them.
That's why Generation Me is awesome. I was wondering why I like them. So Danny Richardson, I know I'm with you when I say I'm WWE all the way.
I know you are. I know secretly.
However, on this one topic of direction, and I love what TNA is doing, I think it's such a blatant, not smack, but point. Like, you need to, it's still wrestling. The pay-per-views are wrestling. It's the most important part is the pay-per-views. The shows are just lead-ups to that. And again, I know the match lead-ups are, for me and you, it's basically match lead-up and ending. So give us a good promo video and an ending. So maybe at heart, I am a WWE guy. But TNA, this direction is brilliant.
I agree that it's a good move of what they're doing. Because they're going to pull essentially what ECW did when ECW says, we can't compete on the entertainment level with these other companies, so we're going to distance us. We're going to tell you how we're not like them, and we're going to do a niche, and we're going to be completely different.
Niche? It's wrestling.
But I'm saying that's what ECW did. They distanced themselves. They were clearly so different than the other wrestling companies that were on TV. TNA is saying, you go watch the other guys, and it's going to be, 5-minute matches and then 10-minute promos, over-the-top characters, all that stuff, and you come watch us, and it's wrestling matters, So they are for that hardcore fan base.
I love it. I love what they're doing. It's got, and if the shows keep up like last Thursday, it'll be awesome. Because first of all, didn't it look better? Is this one of their on-tour shows? The quality of the film, unless I just downloaded a shitty file, I didn't watch it on TV, but did it look different to you?
I think it was, like you said, the blue lights instead of, and because it's the same arena as far as I know, still the Impact Zone, same place, but I think they just kind of moved things around. It didn't feel like the old sound stage. Yeah, and they weren't using 15 different colored multi-laser lights every time somebody came out.
Let me tell you what I would do if I was in charge of TNA. I would have Wrestling Matters, whatever. Cross out the wrestling. I'd put Scott Steiner. And it would say Scott Steiner Matters. It would just be kind of like 40-Year-Old Virgin, the cover of that DVD. Just his face, not really posing, not really knowing the pictures there, just with sunglasses on, looking like a complete scumbag holding a beer. And it's Scott Steiner Matters, because doesn't he?
No, he does. But I think he matters to us for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, I don't know. He's in my top 5. He's number 5. I don't know if you knew that.
If you didn't have all those ridiculous promo videos on the internet, would you still love Scott Steiner?
Absolutely. I loved him growing up. He was one of my favorites. In the ridiculous promos, you act like are a bad thing or a joke thing. It's kind of, they're good stuff. He's brutally honest.
They weren't, no, the bad ones. Like, they're not all this stuff's intentional.
I think this is a great segue into my dream card, Danny Richardson.
Are we ready for that?
I'm sick of keeping it in. I've been scratching myself. I've been like Billy Kidman this whole time, just scratching my chest, thinking I'm holding something in, and then I thought, oh yeah, dream card.
All right, I'm gonna try to be unbiased here. Even though you completely shit on mine, and you hated it, and you were gonna hate it no matter what. I will do my best to come into yours with an open mind.
I wouldn't hate yours if it didn't have the hackiest tag match with no action. If it didn't have...
You asked me to build a dream card that I wanted to see.
You made
not that the world wanted to see.
You made a triple threat match in your stupid dream card. No one wants to watch that.
I do.
Oh, touche.
I want to watch that match.
Are you ready for the first match?
Sure. Let's get the entrance. This would have been so much better if we could have done this for mine.
I know. I feel like we really finally stepped up our game when it matters. This match. Now, let me just make it clear.
Wait. Do we have a name?
Fuck. This is going to be called.
Are we going with Kevin's Big Show?
Kevin's Big Show. That's another. It was going to be a song. It's the Big Show. All right. All right. So everyone's sitting down, like, what's going to happen? What's going on? Then this song hits, Danny Richardson. Oh, what? What? Angle. Is that really loud for you? So Kurt Angle comes out holding 4 belts.
Can I guess who he's gonna go against?
Yeah.
Is this a one-on-one match?
No.
Oh, then I'm out.
Okay,
it's gonna be too hard already.
Yeah, this one, this is a tough one to predict. It's not one-on-one. This is the most gimmicky of all my matches, but doesn't matter when this guy comes out. Jesus. I gotta apologize. I didn't fix the levels. But then this guy comes out.
Holler if you hear
Angle. There we go. I turned the wrong knob down.
I don't know who else you have in this match, but I hate it right now.
Angle. So then he's in the ring. Then people are like, wait, I know who's going to come out next. Oh! What? Oh my God! Oh! People are just fucking throwing chairs. Holy shit! And he has 4 belts too. Best there is.
So far, none of this makes sense. They're better. Who else is in this match? There's got to be someone to save this.
No way! Chris Jericho's coming out.
What eras are we talking?
Wait. Come on! Oh, all right. We're talking. This is good question. Really, with Jericho, I can go either way. I do like short hair, like creepy murderer Jericho, as much as funny Jericho. Bret Hart, obviously, he's the same no matter what. It could have been yesterday.
No. I've seen him recently. It's not the same.
Did you like my funny tweet I sent to fucking show on Twitter? I said, who did he put in a sharpshooter this week? CM Punk?
Yeah.
No wait, did he?
Yeah, I think so.
I said CM Punk put his career on the line when he let post-stroke tightrope walking Bret Hart.
I'm okay when you put those links and then you include mentions to the wrestlers involved.
Yeah,
in your tweets, and it's just a matter of time before we're blocked from everybody that's ever been in a wrestling ring.
This crowd is going crazy. I got the chat room typing in all caps. We cannot believe this shit. So we got Kurt Angle coming out from, I don't care. As long as he's bald, not a puss. Not the wig Kurt Angle when he started getting tough. We got Scott Steiner from year 2000. We got Bret Hart from 95. Chris Jericho from whenever. Then, wait, how is that? 4 people?
There's more?
Is there?
I don't know.
No way! Are you kidding me? Stinger?
The worst.
Listen to this. Oh, right now there's people just climbing the walls like fucking demons. Oh my God! Scratching their eyes out. Holy shit!
So what you did was you made the first 4 matches of your card, and then the 5th one you went, well, who's all the big name wrestlers that I can't think of a reason for them to be on my card?
And Sting's carrying 3 belts. All right, now we've got... Wait, there's another one. And this was like, should I pick him or Lesnar? But I picked him.
Yo, it's me. It's me. It's DDP.
What? Holy people have fucking wrenches and pliers. They're just ripping their teeth out of their heads. Oh my God!
High five.
And you know Scott Steiner's just ready to beat the fuck out of DDP because he hates him.
So you honestly ripped that I had a triple threat match
Yeah, it was the
with
worst.
3 guys that it would work. Like, they all had different purposes in the match, and it would work. I had Mick Foley, RVD, and Vader in a triple threat match. They could all easily play off of one another. And you have the biggest clusterfuck of, so far, a 6-way. I have no idea if it's going farther.
Angle.
How could you justify this?
This is, let me tell you how, Elimination Chamber, bitch. Best match type there is. On top of it, there's like 13 belts on the line, apparently. And these guys, I don't know. I would love, first of all, it started like I wanted all one-on-one matches. That was my belief with this card. So I had, just as a throw-in, I wanted Kurt Angle versus somebody. And it came down to Scott Steiner or Bret Hart. Submission match either way, and I thought that's not dream card material. How about a little what? And then how about some of this? Nah, he was the last guy I picked, DDP.
Yeah, I think DDP actually brings your match down.
No,
I don't know who I had to put in there. Someone in the chat mentioned like Owen Hart.
No.
I don't know DDP. I don't know what he brings to the table. There's nothing unique there in him that you couldn't already get from somebody else that's in that match.
I don't need a Weekend at Bernie's match happening. I don't want to dig up anybody and have them carry him around. If Ric Flair was in it, maybe, because he would have a great match with dead Owen Hart. But I cannot do that. No, with this one, this is a great opener because Elimination Chamber this year. I didn't like SmackDown much at that time, but that SmackDown Elimination Chamber was such a great opening match. And DDP, you think he brings it down, but he still carries a lot of weight for me. I don't know why. I bought into the hype, and I didn't like him, but I still bought that he was important. Like, when he won the belt, I thought that was a big deal.
Yeah.
When he came out in the crowd and shit, I thought it was like, I don't like him, but people love him type of thing. He's legit now in my mind.
He definitely had his run. We were all doing the diamond hand signal. We were all running around yelling bang. We were all doing diamond cutters in our living room.
We were trying to sunburn ourselves to his skin texture.
We were all wondering how he got to be with Kimberly. And I don't understand. I mean, I can't picture him playing a good match. I mean, and I'm sure it could work. I'm sure they can make anything work. But I just feel like he sticks out in this match.
Well,
I would replace him with somebody.
Well, he's gonna get dropped with a Stinger splash pretty quick, especially if him and Sting are the last two to come out. I'm thinking Sting brings him down almost immediately and waits.
Who are the first 2 people to enter the Elimination Chamber? Like, start the match off.
Sting, DDP, just because I played him in that order, so it has to be.
Okay.
Sting drops him.
And Sting, does he put DDP out before anybody else?
Oh my
gets
God,
in?
he puts him out before the song stops. He just grabs DDP's 7 belts and goes, "Thank you."
It's good to see that DDP holds such a special place in your heart that you put him in the match so you could bury him to the guy that you only like because of his bejazzled red robe.
The robe which he had to take off after pinning or while pinning DDP. He did one of those pins where you put their foot on the chest and he took his jacket off and fucking rocked it. You rocked it. The worst part, all of what I said was so terrible, but rocked it I feel like was the worst part.
That was the top. That was the DDP on top of your kick.
Can you do a DDP impression?
I not on mic, I can't.
Let me tell you something, dude.
Nope, that's not it. Keep going.
Scott Steiner.
Maybe a little better.
He had a deep voice. Hey, Kim.
He had that I've done a lot of drugs and cigarettes voice.
Hey, Kim, we're going out. Put your sunglasses on. That means he punched her. So, I didn't even
It was very low key, though.
I didn't even think who would go over here, but Kurt Angle has to win this.
All right, so who's your final 2 in that? Who's left? Because to me, it's Kurt Angle and Bret Hart. I think you leave them 2 in the ring together. That's your best bet right there.
Well, what happens is, while they're letting Bret Hart out, they like his. You know how the door always malfunctions? Well, they just get it, but it's not open all the way, so he trips on it. He smashes his head on the metal, and he's just kind of laying there, and like people are like, is this a work? What's going on? Then Scott Steiner just starts hitting these stiff kicks on his skull because he doesn't give a fuck. And then they stretcher him out because he can't continue.
Aw. I don't know. I'm warming up to the match.
This is a dream.
I started to think that if you just done Kurt Angle and Bret Hart, that a one-on-one alone with them 2 could be considered a dream match.
I think Sting Angle is the last two. And then you know what happens? He's got him in that fucking Scorpion Deathlock, right? But then Angle fucking grabs the ankle, turns it into an ankle lock, and then breaks his ankle. Like he's twisting it, and it twists all the way around on the replay. People are like, holy shit.
You can't book that.
Yeah, because then when he's doing it, it cuts to the crowd, and Sid's just sitting there like, oh my God. Like, I can't believe that ankle just did that.
A tear rolls down his eye.
Yeah, he's just doing that. They zoom in on Sid, who's sweating as usual, just water all over him, and he's doing that thing where he's like mumbling, and you just see his teeth and his lips open, like
just the top row of teeth too.
He's so mad about it. And then Kurt Angle goes and breaks his leg too.
Wow, I'm glad you invited Sid to your event just to have his leg broken.
What a victory! He's holding two legs in his hand. Boom, boom, boom. Oh man, what a great character that would be to like, kind of like in Universal Soldier where they hang fucking ears around their neck on necklaces. He just has a bunch of toes.
I pictured the when Diesel and Sean fought in your house, and Diesel went to Mad Dog Vachon was in the crowd. Do you remember that? And he goes and he grabs at his leg and he pulls it off because it's a prosthetic leg.
Didn't they do that twice?
They like duplicated it several years later.
Attitude style.
Yeah, but I was like, when that first happened, that scared the shit out of me as a kid. It was like, they just pulled off that guy's leg. I had no idea he had a fake leg at first.
I hate to interrupt, but someone's coming out.
All right, now you got me. I'm all in. Let's go.
And by the way, the ropes are now barbed wire. Oh! Burn. No, not that. Not to that point, but kind of like what you were saying with the death match last week. This is going to be a death match style match.
What's it going to be?
I could think.
Are the Dudleys in this by any chance?
This is a one-on-one match. You want to guess his opponent?
I don't know, somebody that stutters. Rob Danny.
No way. I want to edit this so all the Rob Van Dams are cut out, but it only says the whole fucking show. So we can use it.
We could work on that.
So yeah, this is a match we've all seen a million. No, I'm just kidding. We cannot wait to see this last. Oh no, what am I talking about? There's a stipulation on this match. It's not a death match.
So you already stole my match that you hated, and then you just tweaked it. You just dropped one guy from it.
Well, yeah, because triple threat matches, you don't feel like anybody's better than anyone. You just feel like, oh, he lucked out. Kind of like the whole champion's percentage of winning, blah, blah, blah. No one really earns it. It's just the percentages work in someone's favor.
Couldn't you feel that way about an Elimination Chamber match?
Never, because they're way more entertaining. But
that's still same thing. Somebody lucked out. You could be the last guy to enter the ring, and people are already eliminated before you even get there.
Well, triple threat elimination matches even are a lot more legit. I feel like somebody actually won after that.
Oh, I didn't tell you that mine was elimination?
I think I made you change it last week. Still hated it. This is Cactus Jack versus RVD. And this is the only match I'm kind of so-so on, but...
Yeah, it's been done, them one-on-one, but it seems like on a bigger stage, there's so much they could do. And I think you said you're trying to go that same balance where you're not doing the cheesy stop signs and trash can hardcore match, but you're not going full-out, Japan with...
You sure? You don't know the stipulation yet.
You said it was going to be hardcore.
I took it back. I actually have one written down.
Okay.
This is going to be a last man standing up match.
Why do you say that?
That was way too funny.
Somehow that made me think it was different. I was like, oh, how could that play out? But it doesn't mean anything.
A last man standing up match. Oh, by the way, have you heard of
somebody copyrighted Last Man Standing, and you had to tweak it so that you didn't get sued?
Yeah, my dreams aren't very rich. So they want to be. Believe me, they dream of it.
The first man no longer laying down.
Have you seen a King of the Mountain match? Completely unrelated.
I have. I don't think they've done one for a couple years. Do they still do them?
I love them. I saw my first one last night. I hate the penalty box, but I love the idea of a reverse ladder match where you have to hang the belt. I think it's great.
You would have hated because in their early years, Jarrett won like the first couple of them.
I love Jarrett. He's one of my favorite guys.
And then I think Rhino won one, and that kind of destroyed the credibility there.
Never heard of him. What does he spell with a Y or something?
does, depending on where he's at.
His move used to be the Rhino bomb, worst power bomb, and then he finally speared people. Steve Corino was awesome, completely.
Is that the best spear in wrestling?
Oh, yeah.
Rhinos?
Oh, yeah. So last man standing up, there's going to be a spot in this match. By the way, Cactus Jack, who's going to be heel or face? I feel like RVD, heel or face, is the same guy. He's just confused and high, kind of like me.
In mind that Cactus Jack had to be the heel, and you designated RVD to be the face. Like, you were booking my dream card, and now you can't decide how you're going to book your very similar match in your dream card.
I feel like your tone is offending. Like, you're trying to, like, make me look bad or something, and that's fine. Do what you need to do.
I'm not attempting to be mean. I'm just I'm trying to keep you honest here.
There will be a Van Daminator in this match.
Well, I like it.
And also,
sometimes it takes very little to turn me around. Now I'm sold.
You want to hear the spot that I came up with that no one's ever done before?
What's that?
Actually, CM Punk kind of did this in the Randy Orton one, but it was off a table. Here's what you do. They're down, right? This is going to be the end. Oh, my God, there's blood everywhere. There's ankles. There's toes all over the ring. C4, blah, blah, blah. So, they're both laying down. The ref's counting. Count. 1, 2. Okay, so they're counting. Then we're at 9. We're at 7. They're both down. 8. Oh my God. Oh wait, Cactus Jack's starting to move. 9. And then he rolls out of the ring and lands on his feet outside the ring. So he's technically standing. 10. Cactus Jack wins. Then he collapses.
Ooh.
Awesome.
I like it.
I think that's the greatest ending to a fucking last man standing match.
That's probably as close call as you can make it. Almost Rocky 2-ish.
And he's not even getting up. Like, it's such a great loophole. He's just standing because he fell out of the ring.
Like by default of him just coming out of the ring. It's like he was on his feet for a second and then fell. I like it.
Now, I look at this card, this dream card, as being a triple main event with just 2 opening matches. So now we're getting legit. We're not fucking around anymore, Danny Richardson. This is when your card, people are going to forget it. Because what did you have? Randy Savage versus The Rock. Retarded. Now...
way better than that Elimination Chamber garbage you came up with. And then we had the same match with Foley and RVD, but I threw in Big Van Vader and made it better. So you got nothing so far. Let's keep going.
Well, we're not going to compare my elimination to your Rock match. We'll compare it to your tag team match.
Did you forget about the elbow drop turned into a rock bottom finish?
That was great. But
you came up with it. You have to like it.
I feel like that's comparable. That should be a last man standing match finish too. All right, so here we go. Who's coming out next? We got Sid still biting his lip in the front row.
He's got no leg.
Now he's even madder.
All right.
I know I'm sexy.
He's dancing because it's 1995. Shawn Michaels. He's got a mullet, kind of.
I can't believe that on your dream card, Shawn Michaels is literally a mid-carder.
He is, and he's bearded 1995 Intercontinental Champion, had to give up his belt to Dean Douglas.
Why would you pick 95 Shawn?
Because he was the most beautiful. What, are you laughing?
Yes. You picked him based on like the most attractive version of him?
Because he's just as talented, and he was a face. He was heading towards the title. By the way, entered the Royal Rumble number 1 and won as a heel a year before, or that year. Now, we got him in a dream card.
Well, I bet he had no idea his career would come full circle like that.
And he's going, and that's my Shawn Michaels. Because I cried apparently a lot of times watching wrestling, because it used to just be WrestleMania 14. Now, as we discuss it, I'm remembering getting welled up many times, especially in fucking 95 when he came out with his wet eyes to give that belt away, and that fucking Dean Douglas.
And the way Dean Douglas just snatched it out of his hands. He was so disrespectful. I was very upset about that.
And his opponent is 96 Shawn Michaels. No, go ahead.
And then I was already like on the Shawn Michaels bandwagon, but I was young enough that I didn't like love him because he was still a bad guy.
Yeah.
So I didn't have that ability to, just openly appreciate bad guys or good guys depending on what they were. But then that, following that, he comes back and then they do that Survivor Series match. And that's, where he takes like everyone's finisher. And then the next night, I think that when they did like the Owen Hart Insecurity, like that whole combination of everything, that's what sucked me into Sean for good.
Well, sucked. You and your blowjob shit need to fucking slow down. I wish. All right, so these last three too are all face versus face matches.
All right, so we got Shawn Michaels. It's a one-on-one match,
and you cannot punch anyone in the face in this match. No,
has this match? It's Tito Santana, Rick Martel. Has this match ever happened before?
No.
Okay, so jeez. Is it a WWF guy or a WCW guy?
By the way, in the chat, you can call in at 701-214-5521. If you have any predictions, and we're about a minute delay, so it's going to be interesting. Or
I would
comments.
love for somebody from the chat to call in and shit on your dream card, but they won't.
Well, they love it. So
they love you.
What's your question? Is this a submission match?
No, I was trying to figure out where I should start guessing his opponents. I have no idea where you'd go with this because I'm shocked that he's so low on your card.
This is, in a lot of ways, this is the ultimate Shawn Michaels match that has never happened, and it's still so low on my card. Mr. Perfect. No, it happened like 3 times.
For a moment there, I was excited. I really have no idea. Let's look to the curtains and see who comes out.
Mr. Perfect is his tag partner. No, that's something you do. This is one-on-one, face versus face, Shawn Michaels against.
If you smell what the
No way.
is cooking.
Oh! People are just fucking jerking off on each other. No way! Oh.
I agree with you because I definitely thought of this match a lot when I was doing my dream card. This is a very big possibility.
If you smell,
Danny, settle that. That's you in the crowd.
no, if you smell,
Holy shit! We're actually there for my dream card.
And they would put on such a good match.
Oh, yeah, and Shawn Michaels is coming out the victor after not a surprise sweet chin music, not a side suplex, but a stomp the ground and hit it, then pin him. You see it coming since the elbow drop victory.
And leading up to this match, do we have a reason? Because you wanted stories for my matches, why they were going to fight, and I didn't have them. I wasn't
Holy shit!
Do you have that for this one? Is there a reason they went to this, or is this just because it needs to happen?
The best I got is face versus face. I didn't really do much be the booker, except for ending, storyline stuff. So, I don't know. Shawn Michaels is an ultra racist. He hates Samoans. He scalped his dad. He scalped The Rock's dad and stole a bunch of their silly shark teeth that they wear around their wristbands. And now The Rock's pissed, and they're both good guys.
Can we show, even though it's 95 Shawn, can we show the clip over and over of The Rock going to do the people's elbow on Triple H, and when Shawn was the special guest referee, and he just snaps the super kick out of nowhere?
That was huge for me. That was emotional. Just to see him
I jumped up in my living room. I was so excited that night, because I also believe that this was a sign that Shawn was coming back.
From the chat room, why is this not the main event? Main event, stop the show. Can you believe that? And I'm telling you, when you hear the last two, you're going to say, no, that's not even. And this is kind of a triple header card, but this is the weaker of the last 3 matches.
I just don't know if I can believe it. I can't. I mean, I think I know one of your matches, but I can't imagine that you have another match on top of the one I believe is going to happen.
I bet you guessed the next one.
I assume.
if you smell,
Holy shit! Now, the next one. The Rock wrestles twice.
I was going to ask you, like, would you have, anybody double up? Was anybody wrestling more than one match that night?
I think we might have to do a dream tournament, a dream King of the Ring tournament, where it's something like that, where we can kind of work through the results, who would win and why. Maybe we'll take all the King of the Ring winners and put them in the ultimate King of the Ring tournament type of thing.
That would be our own just pointless fantasy booking, just so that we could, just so that we could relive EFED days almost to an extent.
And isn't that the greatest idea anyone's ever come up with? King of Kings, King of the Rings? Come on. That's brilliant.
It'll come down to Mabel and Bret Hart.
Well, no, it's going to be Bret Hart versus Bret Hart because he won back-to-back. So we'll see who wins that one, and then we can move forward.
All right, so we're... Oh, who wins, Shawn? Oh, we said Shawn.
No way! Oh, he stuns The Rock and Shawn Michaels. No. So yeah, Shawn Michaels gets a clean win on Rocky, and also I forgot Stone Cold's in the next match, but I forgot about Shawn Michaels goes to do an elbow drop. Rock catches him, picks him up, rock bottom.
I like that it's the same as the Rock Randy Savage finish you came up with.
Shawn Michaels kicks out at 1. Yeah, so Steve Austin, 1999 Stone Cold. No, how about this? Later 98, talking maybe against Kane in the First Blood match. Stone Cold, everyone loved him except me.
That's your best Steve Austin. I think that's your peak right there.
Who's he going up against?
Hulk Hogan.
You think so?
I do, but I guess I don't know.
All right. Well, let's see if you're right. No way! What? Who is that?
This is horrible.
If you smell.
Holy shit! Holy shit! You said this is horrible. This is like the dream match for both guys. Goldberg was the head of WC Dub, and he was a Stone Cold ripoff lookalike who was supposed to be better. Stone Cold, of course, is the head of WWE, and then they collide. Finally, we know who's best, and we already knew. But
if you had your choice, just erase everything else. If you had your choice of watching, peak Austin versus, I mean, Hulkamania Hogan, like those are the two biggest of all time. And you would pick Austin versus Goldberg.
I definitely would, because that's how it went. And the next match might help explain it, but I would rather see Austin Goldberg than any other Goldberg or Austin match.
Do you think it comes from, is it the age difference at this point that you weren't as into it during that 80s run? And so maybe I have bigger fondness?
You're confused, because this guy's coming out for the main event.
No, to me, like that, the idea of that Hulk Hogan fighting this Stone Cold is the biggest match you could come up with.
No, because Austin, it has nothing to do with age difference. Just because Hogan still gets the one up, he's in the main match. Austin, if anything, Austin's getting screwed here. He should be up above. It should be Hogan Goldberg again. No,
I think Goldberg brings that match down. I agree. Austin Goldberg, it is a dream match. I just don't know if it's the biggest match I could come up with for Austin.
Let me tell you partly why. This comment on this video is perfect reasoning why this match has to happen. On a Goldberg theme song, someone wrote, "He's the only guy who can beat Undertaker's streak." There are these idiots who buy into Goldberg as much as Goldberg. Goldberg is probably the biggest crime in wrestling history. I'd watch him come out every fucking week on Nitro, just waiting for Stone Cold to beat the fuck out of him, which obviously is never going to happen until the Dream Card, when Stone Cold completely squashes him. No, it'll be a good match. But
do you think the match would be good, like good quality of it?
I do.
Or would it just have to survive off a hype alone? Because wrestling wise, what was a good match that Goldberg put on?
Regal. No, I do like, because ultimately, when we're talking good match, I think the story they tell in this match would be better than most technical matches, in that Goldberg is this, every storyline of every match he has is, he's this can't take him down. He's this gnarly monster. That's his nickname, by the way, on the Dream Card, the gnarly monster, Goldberg. He's this guy that's like, how are you going to beat him? That's the whole story. No one's ever really beaten him clean. There's a fucking sledgehammer, or even Lesnar got dropped to him. There's a sledgehammer, a taser. Stone Cold Steve Austin, on the other hand, biggest icon ever, possibly. The guy who definitely inspired the look of Goldberg with the black tights. By the way, Stone Cold with 1 knee brace is in this match, not 2. We made that clear. And the story would be, how long can Stone Cold even last against him? Next thing you know, Goldberg's weakening down. He reverses a spear into a stunner. No, that won't happen. But I think it would be a great match. Very entertaining just at story alone.
I can't be alone. And I mean, would I want to watch this match? Yes. But I just could not disagree more that there aren't. This is Goldberg's best possible match. This is not Stone Cold's best possible match.
Well, I don't see Stone Cold as a guy who has these incredible in-ring matches anyway. And this is the one.
Then you're missing out there.
I don't know. His Bret Hart matches, stop telling me they're good. I try to watch them and it's boring.
The Bret Hart match is good. Their first match at the Survivor Series, the first time they fought, that was a good one.
I know.
His Shawn Michaels match was great. The Rock matches were good. I mean,
were they?
Yeah. Didn't we cover one of the Rock WrestleMania matches were good. All three of them were decent.
This might be my most wanted match ever. I don't even know why there's confusion on why it exists. This is fucking, I think you're just discounting Goldberg, which I can't blame you on. But if you look at wrestling history, even in Japan, he was fucking, no matter where he is, for some reason, he spears and jackhammers everyone and wins. He can't lose unless it's cheating. Like he's an important character, the most important for WCW. Wouldn't you even think that?
So now I'm going to take a different angle. Your history with Goldberg, I mean, you have such hatred for him,
Hate him,
and you want somebody to take him down. You want somebody to be that guy that takes him out and shows all the Goldberg fans, that he's not so great. Why are you picking Austin, someone that you're admittedly not a super fan of, and not picking Shawn Michaels? Someone that, I mean, wouldn't you love to see Shawn be the guy to take out Goldberg?
Oh, is the problem you don't see the link between Goldberg and Stone Cold?
I definitely do, and I said it is a gimme dream match. I'm just curious why. I mean, outside of the fact of the look and that similar stuff right there, but wouldn't you get more enjoyment of seeing Shawn be the guy that take out Goldberg than to see Austin take him out?
Danny Richardson. Whenever I see Bill Goldberg, I see Steve Austin. That's what it is.
And you just can't get past that. So
and also, weren't you alive in 1998 when Stone Cold was world champion? And then they came up with this fucking bitch, and made him world champion. And we're supposed to go watch him instead of
I know how much you hate it. I do. I get that. I was just curious if that part meant more to you than as who would be the guy to take him out.
And it's also partly because, like, Stone Cold, I acknowledge how important he is, but for me personally, like you said, I don't value him as much as most people, so I can throw him in this dream match of mine. Like, for me, his value goes way up against Goldberg than it does against someone else.
I think we need to get James Scampoli in here.
No, he would agree. I guarantee. Want me to bring him in?
No, but I think he needs to preach to you about like the quality of wrestling matches that Austin could put on versus what Goldberg would put on.
And that's not even it. I think with Austin in the match, it can only be a good match also. Especially with that story.
I think he would elevate Goldberg. And I think if they wrote it, like you said, to tell a story rather than to just be another match with an ending, like don't just write out a creative ending for me. Write out a whole match that has a purpose. Like I would relate it to, not in the same style, but I would relate to the Randy Orton CM Punk match from WrestleMania this year, where the whole match felt like it told a story.
Yeah, match stunk. If we,
you didn't like that?
No, I thought it was, and this might be weird. I thought it was kind of too short. Did you get that feeling?
Like a little bit, and the ending was predictable. But I just mean the fact that they did something that it made it feel different, because look at what they had to compete with. But they did something that made it where the whole match, I like that style where a whole match has a purpose. And I think if you were ever going to do that, you could do it with these guys. A lot of playing to the crowd. I guess a better example would be the Rock Hogan match from WrestleMania.
I kind of feel I would love this match if it was 2 seconds. Stone Cold comes out, stuns him, and pins him. And if there's any time constraints on this dream card, that's what'll happen.
You would feel cheapened by that, though. You'd have to, like...
No, this is the closure I've always wanted. You don't understand. Goldberg still... I mean, I thought the dream was over when WCW ended. Great. Fuck this Goldberg joke. Then WWE took him, and he was just as powerful. That hurts my soul in so many ways.
The way you feel about this match was what I was trying to get across last week for why I wanted to see another Shawn Michaels Bret Hart match.
Okay.
Like it meant that much. Like I needed to see. I wanted Shawn to beat him again. I wanted Shawn to just put that nail in the coffin.
Doesn't this song make you mad?
Did Goldberg win?
No.
just played his music. I didn't hear Austin's victory music.
What would be, that was a sound mix up, like that time Crash Holly won a match and the Hardy Boys song played. So what a great reference. So what would you think would be a good ending for this? Obviously you got to work in a finisher reversal into a finisher. Does he get out of the way of the spear, or does it get to the jackhammer point and you really think Austin's going down?
My first thing was I pictured like some kind of, I was like, well, how could you reverse the spear? Could you somehow, if maybe Goldberg's a little beat up at this point, goes for the spear, and somehow Austin does the Luthez press? I don't know if that's physically possible from that point, but we would really have to, like, they would just have to collide at that point.
No, I like that, though. I think it should be a surprise spear because he goes for the Luthez press. I love that spot.
There you go. Catch him in midair.
Through a chair that's just sitting there, you know?
It was just there. No explanation why.
Well, Stone Cold was sitting in it because he held the show hostage for a while.
And then do you picture the jackhammer, but Austin slipping out of it, doing the...
I don't like that. See, I don't know. I want Goldberg to... I want people to think he might have a chance, but I want Austin to steal that win. Kind of like how Shawn Michaels, they teased that he might win, and I really felt it, and then they broke my heart with the stunner.
But it's hard with Austin's matches now. It feels like... I mean, and towards the end of his wrestling career anyways, it seems like the stunners... you could feel them coming. They were so
the way he'd stand.
It became obvious when they were coming up and when they were going to happen. And once it happened, like, you just didn't feel as surprised by it anymore. So would you consider having the match not won via stunner? Like, he didn't even have to use the stunner to.
I would never consider that in fucking ridiculous suggestion. So
it has to be the stunner that wins the match.
I think I have it, but it kind of goes with something Randy Orton did on. You didn't watch SmackDown yet, right?
No, I haven't yet. I'm caught up on Raw, caught up on TNA, and I'm behind on SmackDown
it's
somehow.
Worth it for this ridiculous moment at the end. Randy Orton hits Mark Henry with an RKO, gets up,
tweeted about,
does a jumping split where, like, his legs go completely in a straight line, and then he starts like shadow boxing.
Like so it's like a celebration thing?
Yeah, and he didn't even pin him first. He hit the RKO, did the split jump, shadow boxed, and it was this awkward celebration before anything ended.
It didn't come down into the splits, just jumped up and kicked his legs to the side.
You need to see that. I swear, like, me and Kristen...
I have no idea why this would happen.
The jumping split was very uncomfortable.
I had that in my notes because I didn't understand your tweet, but I knew that it was because I hadn't watched SmackDown yet, but I had to know because, like, the way you tweeted about it, and it was like, Orton's split jump, like, it's something, and you're like, and the shadow boxing that followed it was even worse. I thought this was something that happened in, like, the backstage area, like, as they're going to commercial. I had no idea this was during a match.
I think it was an uncontrollable impulse that comes with having his new beard. Like, people with that beard have to shadow box and do jumping splits with underwear on.
Oh, you've sold me. I will be watching SmackDown before I go to sleep tonight. I have to see this.
And also, you have to... We might have to just do a commentary so I know you saw it. Christian Randy Orton, a match I had no interest in, did two things. For one, it made me love it. It was the best singles match I've seen in probably since, I guess, Undertaker Triple H is on that level. But I might even like this one more. That's why I'm saying it. And it turned me around on Christian.
I was going to say, does it make Christian for you more main event? Like, I wouldn't expect him to be full main event, guy in your eyes, but does it help push him towards that route?
I gave him the World Heavyweight title in SmackDown versus Raw for 2 days.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Considering you don't even play that game anymore, at least not with me.
Who did he lose it to? I don't know why I think you would know, but I'm pretty sure it was probably Kane.
Or CM Punk again.
SmackDown is fledgling in my fucking... where's GM mode, people? I want ratings. I want to know how many people watched.
People should start expecting, like, SmackDown versus Raw talk because they're already starting to leak hints about what's going to be in the next game.
Oh, please.
And I'm going to suck you in with me. I've never had somebody that would care and, wait for the next game to come out.
Well, what are we, about 5 to 6 months away with 5 months with Madden, 5 months before, it. We don't know shit, really. There's not even a cover.
Have a habit of not even releasing the full roster until about 2-3 weeks before the game comes out.
From the chat, it's worth watching the whole show for his split jump. And Christian's reaction is just awesome. Like, I don't know if this is the new, like, I thought he was a Viper. I didn't know he was a surfer. And do surfers do splits? Somebody that's not a Viper does splits.
I've got to see this now. It's funny because you tweeted about it, and I really had no idea what the tweet meant. I didn't know what you meant. I was like, I've got to ask you because I could not understand that, what you're referencing or the picture you were painting with that.
They're like, let's see if anyone's watching. Will anyone notice a split jump? And next week we'll just have him pull his tights aside so his ball sack's hanging out the whole match. Now also, Stone Cold versus Goldberg ends like this. Goldberg setting up for the spear. People are flipping the fuck out. And actually, he already hit a spear. He's getting up for another spear because he already hit 2, remember. He reversed a Thez press. Okay, wait. Forget everything I just said. So, there's a Thez press attempt into a spear. Then Goldberg, they're both like, because it's so late in the match, it's been like 2.5 hours of wrestling. Goldberg gets up. He's like doing that thing where he shakes his head fast because he's a fucking animal, apparently. Retarded.
He's a beast.
By the way, Batista's the referee. And then, then he finally gets up before Austin, sets up for another spear, runs at him. Austin, however, does a split jump, or it could just be a monkey thing, a monkey flip. What is it called when you jump up with your legs out? Split jump?
Leapfrog,
a monkey flip. Stone Cold hits him. No, he leapfrogs. So then Goldberg kind of goes into the ropes like a 619, but obviously Stone Cold won't do that. So he's like, you can tell. He's looking at Goldberg within the stunner position where he's at an angle so he can kick him. Everyone's like, no way. Everyone's ripping their fucking hair out, fucking slitting their own throats because they don't want to even see it. It's so awesome. And then Goldberg gets up. Bam. Stunner. 3 count.
I'm not saying I would enjoy the match. I would watch it. I'm just very surprised.
Is it because it's 2 hours?
The whole match?
Yeah.
Yeah. That might be a little much on this.
That, for me, is the ultimate Austin match is Goldberg. He needs to, because Goldberg, I mean, we talk about Hogan, who is coming up. He's like, he's your Hulk Hogan. Goldberg, he was put above what, and I know the fans didn't react like they did with Hogan. I'm not trying to discredit Hulk Hogan. He's in my main event, but they tried to make Goldberg his legacy bigger than that legacy.
Yeah, it's what they wanted, and it was one of those things we talked about before, like why Hogan would agree for that. Either, where it's the guys that he picks that it's okay to put him over. But and there are people that argue, should Goldberg even be in the Hall of Fame? And I think it's all hype. I personally I wouldn't like him to be, but I think he should be. He's got 3 years WCW time, a year in WWF, and now I don't know if you read, supposedly a potential run in TNA. Like, I guess he met with Eric Bischoff.
I read about that. Plus his Japan work.
Yeah, well, there's 3 matches, but I just don't. It's one of those things. Like I go, oh, how could you consider him Hall of Fame material? Like, that's an insult. But at the same time, that's the same credentials the Ultimate Warrior has.
All right, fine. He'll be in the celebrity wing since you're obsessed with that. But no, I think he hit 130 in Japan. Like, he went that long with his record.
Ugh,
Isn't that offensive that they took it seriously too? Like, it would be just hype if WCW died with him and he died with them. But I swear the fact that WWE Creative bought into it means it's real now. Means he really is that good in the world of wrestling because their writers have that type of power.
I think that they saw money, with the idea of bringing him in.
Yeah.
And then I think he's such a diva, for lack of a better word there, that he had those demands. Like, this is what we should do with my character. This is what he's that guy that comes into it telling you how his character should be.
Yeah.
Not allowing you, the writer, to give him a character or change, because he's that guy that believes what he's told he was, and I think he came in and had a certain amount of say so, and they were willing to compromise at that point because he was still hot enough.
How does that translate overseas? How does someone like a Goldberg or any wrestler go overseas and win a match? Because that's a whole different canon. That's a whole different world of wrestling, isn't it? How does that translate?
It depending on the guy. Some guys make it bigger there. I mean, you take like your Vader, Andre the Giant. They're bigger there just because they're literally giants. and they don't have wrestlers that look like that. So, I mean, some big guys, and I think Goldberg might have been lucky to fall into the thing, but also a lot of them are familiar with the bigger names of American wrestling, and they would be familiar with who Stone Cold is. They'd be familiar with who Goldberg is. So those guys don't have a hard time of going over there and selling themselves.
Before we do the main event,
Which I am dying to know who it's going to be.
I gotta ask you, because you're always talking about wrestling style, something I'd never paid attention to till I started talking to you. I just figured wrestling was wrestling, two guys getting in a ring, a different match happens every time. But you started with the phrase American pro wrestling style, and then I started to think, what are the other styles? Watching Chris Jericho's DVD, I got a bit of a hint, because he went everywhere. Tell me the difference between Mexican wrestling, Japanese wrestling, and American pro wrestling.
I have to be honest, I'm not super familiar with Japanese wrestling. I've only seen, maybe a few handful of matches. With Mexican wrestling, it's obvious, and it's more so now than what it used to be, but it's more what they would call, like, it's about the spots and not as much about the storytelling. And for American wrestling, at least if we're going to just say WWE represents American wrestling, it's about the story. Where, like we talked about earlier, I'll put it this way. One of the things I think TNA does wrong is that they're trying to put on great indie style, high quality wrestling based matches every week. Mm-hmm. And those are going to wear down on you. You're going to get, I think the general people are going to get tired of that. If every match feels that way, the pay-per-views don't feel special. WWE has a way of, their matches are slower paced on free TV, and then when they want to turn it up and make a match feel special, they do that. And it's not that those wrestlers are that much better, but it's because you don't see them wrestle those kinds of matches over and over. For them, it's all storytelling. It's a lot of rest holds. It's a lot of strikes. It's, counter, stuff like that. It's about telling a story as opposed to, here's 10 spots that I want to get off, and you have your 10 spots you want to get off. Let's just take turns doing them.
When you say tell a story, is that like, oh, he's hurting his leg, how's he going to do this with his leg hurt? Is that basically it? Not
necessarily, though. That's what I use for me. I like those matches where they do that, and that's very rare. But it's more how Vince sees it. Vince is very big on, when people come to WWE, you have to take time to learn how to wrestle a WWE match. It's different than how you wrestle a match. Daniel Bryan in the WWE is nothing like Daniel Bryan when he was in the Independents.
But I'm still confused by this story thing, because you say it's rare, but every Shawn Michaels match is the same, quote, story. They're hitting his back. They're hitting his back. He's hitting his leg. Like, is that the story, or is there more to it? Because I don't feel like, I've never felt like, until we really started talking about this, that there was ever a story in a match I've watched. Go ahead.
To them, that is a story. Like, there's something happening in the match, just a guy working a guy's leg or a shoulder, throughout the match, trying to set up for their finisher. That's part of telling the story for them. There's a lot more selling the moves. If I clothesline you, you stay down for a little bit, and I take my time. I pick you up from the ring, I slowly whip you into the ropes and then do something else. But if you go into like a Mexican style, I clothesline you, you're going to pop up, and then I'm going to, whip you into the ropes. I'm going to drop kick you over those ropes. Then I'm going to dive over those ropes. We're both going to get back up. Then we're going to do a move on the outside. It's like it's one move after another. It's all about high spots, and it's like a faster pace. Where WWE likes to slow things down. And like I said, their way of wording is that they feel they're telling a story, and making every move should feel important and serve a purpose.
See, what you're describing with those fast-paced matches, I imagine an ECW Jerry Lynn RVD match. And I think there's better stories told in matches like that than, oh, he's limping to get to the top rope, as opposed to he jumps up and just lands on the other leg to get up there. Like, same stories are being told in the other matches. It's just a better match.
And I agree, but imagine if every match on the card was like RVD and Jerry Lynn, and then you ordered the pay-per-view, and those matches looked just like that. It would get old after a while. But only because they wouldn't feel special anymore.
Well, RVD and Jerry Lynn, it's important to say, faced each other on the first 4 episodes of ECW so far, TNN, and I didn't watch the 5th one yet, so it might be then. Like 4, I'm just throwing a number out, this might not be true, but 4 straight pay-per-views, and it was, I don't remember Jerry Lynn ever winning the match, but they were always awesome, and I never didn't want to watch them. So I think technical style, fast-paced matches are much more entertaining regardless of how many people are good at them than the DDT both laying down. Like the DDT came out of nowhere, so we're supposed to like it better? Is that the plan?
They are better. I mean, but it's that too much of something is too much of a good thing. It's bad.
I'm confused.
Because at the time when you were watching, you liked the RVD and Jerry Lynn. Not all the other matches on the card were doing that. Just theirs.
Okay.
So theirs stood out. But if you tuned in to watch Raw and there's 5-6 matches on Raw, and all 5-6 matches were like that week in and week out, it would, each time you watched it, it would feel less and less special. Doesn't mean they weren't good matches, but it would just not feel as special. They feel special now because you're not used to seeing that.
No, and
you don't get to see that often.
I was always used to it. I saw it live. I went to an ECW show in Fitchburg, Massachusetts, and it was RVD versus Jerry Lynn again. I knew who was going to win, and it was great. But, all right, I need a real wrestling fan to call the line anytime, 24 hours a day, and answer the question. Because Danny's just repeating himself, making no sense. I think he's drunk. 701-214-5521. Danny Richardson, again, before we get to this main event, which is the match in wrestling history, I sent you a link to the Randy Orton doing the split jump. And let's do a quick commentary. Let me know when it's up and paused. And you haven't seen this yet. You need to see Randy Orton completely, in my opinion, this is great storytelling. Just completely what a viper would do if it had legs. It would jump up, touch the toes with the fingers, shadow box a little bit. The viper friend Christian, the owner, would look at it like that was cool, and then someone would win.
I like that the description for the video says Randy Orton goes crazy after RKO on Mark Henry. Like, that's exactly how it sounds from you. So I'm very excited to see it. I have it paused. I'm ready when you are.
All right, I'm gonna count down from 4 because this is epic. Right.
I like that you count from 4.
4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so far, what? He's already going crazy. Watch. What? What was that? All right.
I was impressed.
Now, Danny Richardson, here's my main problem. I'm going back. Before he even hits it, he's doing a fucking foot shuffle like he's fighting Marvin Hagler. Look, he's, here we go. Oh, man. Stop it. Look, wait. All right, paused again. I'm going back. First of all, look at on this pause. Look at the referee. The referee's like, this is the referee.
I think on the same frame I am, where he's leaning back. He's almost going into like full Matrix pose there.
It looks like he's about to start like pulling his teeth out of his head, shaving his hair off. Like he's melting. That was insane. He just loves it. Christian just staring at Mark Henry. All right,
can't believe what I just saw.
We need to focus on not the 12-year-olds that love it, but the Little Nate. Let's watch Little Nate, the referee, all the way through. Oh, what a kick. Oh, my God, he can't believe it. Oh, whoa, in a And then Christian,
the ref with his back to the ropes, is just blown away by what he saw.
And Christian was just scratching his head. Again, one more time, something that better not ever happen again in real life. We're about to watch for the 5th time. Watch Christian now. All right, kick. What an RKO. And then, okay, well, this is weird. He scratched, I don't
know. And even his shadow boxing was awkward as he punched upward rather than just jabs.
That, for the first time, a wrestler looked like a jock to me. Like, I know they're supposed to be the bullies growing up in high school. They're the strong kids. They're the jocks. But I always had a disconnect. Like, maybe a geek like one of my friends could have grown up and been a wrestler. Jeff Jarrett is a good example. But now I see Randy Orton was captain of the football team, doing split jumps, and beating the fuck out of me and my friends. And now I can't buy him as a face.
That toe touch may have ruined the way I see Randy Orton forever. That has to be one of the daintiest unintentionally daintiest things I've ever seen done in a wrestling ring.
I gotta see it again. It's like it's almost as if he hates Mark Henry as much as I do. He's hoping that maybe there's a botch here, maybe a neck goes a certain way, and he just really thought it happened. What the fuck? What is this? Fucking the Harlem Globetrotters? Oh, no.
Now, is this the end of SmackDown? Is this how it ended there?
That's the end. We're left with that sour taste in our mouth at the end of fucking SmackDown.
Oh, well, I'm glad I don't have to go back and watch the whole show now. I got to see the highlight.
That was it. But now, how about this main event? Now, I know that main event, that tag team, which every SmackDown has, the tag team main event with Christian's new friend versus the new bad guys. This main event is a one-on-one singles match, Danny Richardson.
All right. We know one entrant.
Every man, I am a real American. And this is 1987. And the people are flipping out. He's pointing at everybody. He points at Sid. Somebody get medical attention of their brother.
Poor Sid. All of his former enemies coming out on the dream card.
Yeah, Sid's just laying there like he laid in the ring after his leg broke with his hands out. Like, what happened?
Sitting there in his softball jersey, his sweat pouring down, his broken leg.
This is huge, isn't it? This is big.
I have no idea. Has this match ever happened before?
No, and I want to read one response from every chat room person. Which is a lot of responses. I need one guess from them. Danny, I need two guesses from you.
Clearly, you want one guess from everybody in the chat room, or do you want a response after they hear it?
I want the guess. And Danny Richardson,
because we won't be able to read all their guesses. We'll pick like the best 4 or so.
Yeah, one of them will be mine. So think about where we've come so far. Let me go over the card. We've already had Kurt Angle, Scott Steiner, Bret Hart, Chris Jericho, Sting, and DDP, and an Elimination Chamber with Kurt Angle winning. We had Cactus Jack versus RVD in a last man standing. Cactus Jack pulls it out. Shawn Michaels versus who was it? Shawn Michaels versus The Rock in a huge match that Shawn Michaels wins. Stone Cold versus Goldberg. Now, what could be bigger than those matches?
All right, so let's run down the big names that obviously couldn't be because they have fought them before. So we're getting rid of all the Ric Flairs, Warrior, Andre, Undertaker's, like Hogan's big opponents in the past.
Maybe.
Sting has already wrestled, and that's a gimme. I mean, all those stuff. Can't be Randy Savage. That's already happened. It's got to. Are we second guessing whether this match has happened already?
I will say that this pretty good suggestion from the chat. Hogan versus Hollywood Hogan. No, that would be a squash match never before.
I like that idea. That was almost. What did you have earlier? Shawn versus Shawn.
Hey, I wanted to have Goldberg versus Goldberg, but no one liked it. I want Stunning Steve to come out. So.
Goldberg would like it.
Do you have any idea who it could be?
I have one, and I'm only gonna. And I don't necessarily believe this, but I'm just gonna go because I know how you are so in the moment about who you love for wrestling. And I saw you post on Twitter. I believe just last night you wrote Samoa Joe Pones. Is there any chance that you have decided that the main event for the Dream Card, the biggest match of all time, should be Hulk Hogan versus Samoa Joe?
No, it's definitely not that.
Oh, thank God.
I love Samoa Joe again because his match on fucking Impact was awesome.
And didn't you hate Samoa Joe maybe like 2 months ago?
I've always loved the character. I just hated what was happening with him. He didn't seem to get any value.
And he's still being treated like shit around there. They're really not.
From the chat, Triple H, someone says.
I think we've had that match.
Maybe, I don't know. I will say it's not him. I will say this is the biggest match in the history of wrestling. This will be the one that the almanacs have on the cover.
Gorgeous George.
Should I hit play?
I think you have to. I have no idea because all the biggest names of wrestling are gone already.
The crowd's like, what's happening? No way!
Oh my god.
Oh!
Not even on my mind.
No way! Hulk Hogan's like pointing at the entrance. Bring it on, brother. Go.
If you smell.
Holy shit!
How did I not even think of him? I didn't even think current WWF guys. Like, I didn't think Randy Orton.
Yeah.
None of that stuff popped into my head. How did Samoa Joe come into my head before John Cena?
That was surprising. I thought you were going to pick it when you said, I'm in the now type of thing. But
Yeah.
John Cena is the absolute face of 2000 on wrestling. That might be early. Triple H is in there.
He is like he's their new Hulk Hogan, and that's obvious. John Cena just has the unfortunateness of being the Hulk Hogan following the Attitude Era.
And are there any two worse? Well, I like John Cena in the ring now, but are there any two over the top, not that good in the ring guys that are considered to be the faces of the show? Like Hulk Hogan never had a good match in his life. John Cena.
No, that's not true.
Oh, come on. Yeah, I kind of forget how big he is sometimes when I wonder why he's not mobile. He is a huge guy, 6'8", old fuck. And then, by the way, Hulk Hogan will keep his bandana on this whole match. And then John Cena, this is definitely purple shirt, John Cena. And this is big. This is Hulk Hogan versus John Cena.
It's pretty big. Ooh, that's a tough. I feel like it's going for the same thing as Hogan versus Austin.
Yeah.
And I think
All the way it is, yeah.
I think Hogan Austin, and I get because you had to do your card your way where you had Austin Goldberg, so you had to separate that match. But let's scrap everything all together. Which one's a bigger match?
Cena Hogan all the way for me because
you really think so?
I do. I'm not really that into the who's better, Stone Cold or Hogan conversation because I just feel like it's I don't know who is it. That's a huge big question.
But the thing is, they're the two biggest of all time, and I feel like that has to be an automatic draw. I mean, it's undoubtedly 1 and 1A, Hogan and Austin, the biggest of all time. Cena is, put into that same consideration, but he's not. I mean,
he is,
and there could be a lot of reasons why. I mean, wrestling's in a down slump. He's suffering from, like I said, it's PG era, post Attitude Era. That's hard for anybody to be successful in doing the style of character he's in. But he's just not quite on that same level as Hogan or Austin.
Here's the thing: Hogan and Austin to me was. This guy did it himself type of thing where he created his character, saved a fledgling industry, and a lot of people can take credit later. ECW even tends to almost take credit type of thing. Like the Attitude Era was us, which kind of is like saying Stone Cold is because of them. Stone Cold, Steve Austin is the creation of Steve Williams. Meanwhile, Hulk Hogan, the yellow, colorful, flamboyant face of wrestling then is Vince McMahon's creation, just the same as John Cena's purple or bright red or bright orange self is now. They're both on this unbeatable level, which no one knows why. No one knows why Hogan won't lose or why Cena keeps winning, but they do. Now these two unstoppable forces come together. I think Austin is tainted by the fake heel turn that didn't go well. What else? He kind of dwindled away, if anything.
Yeah, and that's almost unfair to judge it on that extent because Cena's career's not over. We don't know how it's going to end. You don't know that Cena's not going to have a horrible heel turn somewhere, even though I think a Cena heel turn could be really good if they pull it off right.
Yeah, I think that would be
And I
successful.
thought they should have done it when they did the Nexus angle.
Well, the difference is Stone Cold, they tried to turn heel when he was already a heel guy that people loved. Cena, people hate him as a face. A heel turn will be fucking great. On top of that, how many years has he been around? Can we even say a decade? Austin doesn't have a decade as Stone Cold to even... he just had that huge Attitude Era rush, which, again... He's almost in the main event here, so I'm not trying to hold much against him. He's still important in the sense that Goldberg's important and that those two must face each other. But Cena and Hogan are the fucking colorful faces that are just everything's good. This is what people want as role models. And this match would be fucking... it would take my dick off. Just not even by touching it. I wouldn't touch my dick. I'd have underwear on, but my dick would just fucking vanish if this match happened.
I mean, I get it. It's a big match, and I'm gonna look at the same way as I look at the Austin Goldberg match. It's a big match. I just don't think it's the biggest match possible.
I think I look at these three matches: Michaels, Rock, Austin Goldberg, Cena, Hogan. These are the biggest matches possible that haven't happened, though, which to me is more important than a bigger match that already happened.
I like Mr. Byrne notice in the chat. He says Cena's in the main event while The Rock, HBK, and Austin are on the undercard. Yeah,
but that's because Hulk Hogan. You can't deny Hulk Hogan as what he is, and Cena given that extra push over the top. Austin, in my opinion, at the peak was bigger than both of these two, but Goldberg kind of holding them down in that point of view as far as main event level, but it's still just as important of a match for me. Now, Michaels Rock, do you really think that do you think that deserves to be above Cena Hogan? Not really.
No. I would put Hogan Cena over Michaels Rock. I mean, they're definitely bigger counterparts, but I think, and I mean, I don't mean to keep going back. I just think that Austin Hogan is the biggest dream match yet to happen.
I don't think it would play. I think you can easily pick who's going to win because Austin can only be the bad guy against Hogan. No matter, I guess. Because we're talking Hogan from the 80s. That's the only Hogan that can be in any of these discussions. In that context, Austin is the bad guy and can't win that match. Cena can exist as just as big of a face in that era. Take Hogan out of wrestling history, put Cena in the 80s, it might even be bigger. He's such a more marketable character. He's not balding. He's not a creep. And he still has bright colors. And he raps. People loved that back then.
Like I said, I think Cena is a victim of trying to play that old school good guy character, playing to the kids that they're trying to, they're trying to put it back in the box when they've already opened it up. He's a victim of doing it post Attitude Era. Like I was saying earlier, it's just that, they're following that same style of formula.
Yeah.
And it's working because the younger crowd, the one they're going for, is liking it, but they still have a lot of carryover of the young adult crowd that is going to reject it automatically.
Are you saying I'm being Vince at WrestleMania 7 when I didn't have Flair versus Hogan and everyone wants it and I ruined history? Is that what you're saying?
Possibly, but to be honest, I think Vince went the right direction in that one.
That's just insane.
You don't think so? I as me around WrestleMania 7, I didn't know who Ric Flair was.
By the way, was that even the right WrestleMania?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes! No, WrestleMania 8.
Fuck.
Sorry.
Thought so.
It was WrestleMania 8.
But
7 was Hogan Slaughter.
See, and I'm doing this. We did this as our own dream card type of thing. But obviously, I'm definitely putting history above my own opinion of what would be a good match. I'm looking, because for me, like we said, storyline and ending, the two biggest moments of a match. So a dream card for me would mean the most important matches with the most important endings. Whoever wins Cena versus Hogan is fucking that. For one, how could you even call it? It really could go either way. For me, by the way, Hogan goes over. Sorry. I don't know why I'm apologizing. I think anytime Hogan goes over anyone, including Shark Boy, you got to apologize. For me, that's much more important for wrestling, isn't it?
Doesn't that say something that if Hogan and Cena fought, and I agree, if Hogan Cena fight, Hogan deserves to win. But when we talked Hogan Austin, we felt that Austin should win.
I mean,
isn't that weird when you start like doing like a chain of like that?
Because Hogan and Cena are almost the two sames. You have to pick the one that was bigger and came first. Because I'm not trying to say Cena's bigger than Hogan at all, but he's completely manufactured. He's everything I should hate, but so was Hogan. And whether we like it or not, Cena's on the level he is in history. And also, part of this is because I need to have Austin versus Goldberg. And that's so important to me.
That's what I said. I give you the benefit of the doubt if you can chalk it up to just the way you're spreading out talent to make that you say you're making the most balanced dream card that you can. But when I gave you the chance, I said, if you scrapped everything and all things considered, and this isn't about whose whole dream card is better or anything like that.
Yeah, mine
just
is.
What is the biggest match possible? and you still go with Hogan Cena. And I find that very, very interesting. And I would be willing to bet you're in the minority on that opinion.
Maybe, but I'm smarter than a lot of people. And I do not like minorities. That's the other thing. But no,
well, now you are one.
Don't you think it would draw bigger money?
No.
Oh my God. And you know
how if Austin and Hogan are the top two of all time.
I got to bring in Jim.
Draws, fan base, ratings, whatever you want to go by. And they fight each other. How does that not outdraw any other combination? Where are you going?
All right, Danny Richardson. We got Jim of Jim and Them.
Oh, thank God.
My elder brother.
A voice of reason.
I know where he ranks wrestlers, so I think he's going to go with you.
I feel like he would, knowing his preferences.
So, Jim, we had our dream cards. Last week, Danny Richardson picked 5 matches. I picked 5 this week. Danny's matches last week
were great.
Demolition vs. LOD was one. Then there was a triple threat hardcore match. Then you had Savage Rock, Hogan versus Austin. And again,
which I said should have been main event, but wasn't my personal main event.
And what was your main event? Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart.
I want to see Shawn over Bret one more time.
Here's my card, and you're going to see where the argument is right away. I had an Elimination Chamber first with Angle, Steiner, Bret Hart, Jericho, Sting.
Mention that
TDP. Then I had Cactus Jack versus RVD, Last Man Standing. Then Shawn Michaels versus The Rock, Austin versus Goldberg, then Cena versus Hogan. And I'm getting a lot of negative reactions to Cena versus Hogan versus Austin versus Rock. But I think Austin versus Goldberg is way too important not to have. And Cena versus Hogan serves the same purpose as Austin versus Hogan. And I feel like they'd be a better dream card. What do you think?
Did they do Goldberg versus Austin?
Never.
No.
And I need closure on this Goldberg fucking myth. I need this guy to get crushed.
I kind of like that. I like that angle there. I like the Goldberg versus Austin. Although I don't know if it's better than Hogan, but Hogan sucks. I don't.
But what we're talking about is what would be if you scrapped everything, not making a whole card. What is the biggest one dream match you could make, not just for yourself, but that would draw the most? Like, what's the biggest match possible?
It'd be
I said
Hogan
it would be
versus
Austin Hogan.
Yeah, it would.
More than Cena Hogan?
Yes.
More than
absolutely.
Austin Goldberg?
That's close. I'd say the Austin Goldberg's close. I would almost say Rock Hogan, but they did that, didn't they?
Yeah, that was
they
pretty
did
big.
do that.
And the thing that because we were able to pick from different eras, and for mine, I picked Hogan from I wanted face versus face, so I had Hogan from Hulkamania era. And so it's like the top, and I was telling you talk about top draws of all time, they're 1 and 1A. They're the same.
Yeah, it's Warrior Hogan all over again.
But then you have to, if you're making this era of big Hogan, yellow and red, everyone loves him. Austin can only exist as a heel there, whether you want to bring half of his fan base back in time with him or not. So I think Hogan's going to go over in that match regardless. It's much more predictable, formulaic match. Whereas Cena Hogan, who do you even make win? No one's going to be upset really.
Hogan
They're both jokes. I did
Absolutely.
pick him. But also, people don't seem to see the connection between Goldberg Austin. They're very confused.
No, I'm with you. It's tough to say because it was the whole when Stone Cold got huge, he was the Hulk Hogan of his time.
Right.
Even though The Rock got pretty big too and did the crossover.
He was the Savage of his time.
As far as wrestling, Stone Cold was more the Hogan of his time for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And I got the I told him I understood the Austin Goldberg connection. I just didn't feel like if the match actually happened, because on Goldberg's end, I don't feel like it would be a very good match. I feel and we all agree Hogan's not the best wrestler, but I feel like he's smart enough and has enough in him. He could work a good match when it matters. I don't think Goldberg has in him. I can't name a good Goldberg match. All his matches are based on hype. None of them were good based on his in-ring ability.
Well, you could say the same for Hulk Hogan, though.
Yeah, and I agree. But I think Hogan could work a better match, could tell a better story.
He has no athleticism
than Goldberg could.
And the main thing was with Austin Goldberg, that could be a 2-second match. I don't care. Just make a stunner happen and make Goldberg lose. Now, with Cena Hogan, wouldn't you be more on the edge of your seat watching that match?
No, I'd be like, this sucks. This is the worst.
Well, you hate Cena and Hogan for some reason. But Cena
Cena isn't that guy. He's not that guy.
He is. He's the
Maybe to like little kids that would be an awesome match, but there's no one that like say watched wrestling and doesn't watch wrestling anymore. That'd be like, holy shit, Cena Hogan, I gotta watch this.
That's true. Now, would you rather have, if you were going to do the Austin Hogan match, would you pick, like I was saying, like the the ultimate good guy Hogan, or would you take NWO Hogan, which at that time when it was Attitude Era and then WCW on top, like that was, people were wanting to see that, like Austin versus NWO Hogan. Which one's a more interesting match to you?
I mean, I guess I'd rather see the NWO Hogan. The bigger draw would be the Real American Hogan, though.
But it seems like whichever answer makes the ending as obvious as the other one. No way NWO Hogan's going over on Austin.
That's true.
No way Austin's going over on that Hogan. It's just such a nothing historical happening.
Although the thing is, when you take Real American Hogan in present day, Austin could go over on him.
Yeah,
now,
definitely.
I mean, if you're talking backstage politics like Hogan writing his endings, then yeah, maybe you're right. But I could see where it could happen if it was like present day. I mean, if it was the 80s and Stone Cold was, his Stone Cold character, yeah, you're right. Absolutely not.
I feel like I'm just more forward looking with Cena. You guys just don't know how important this guy is.
I'm saying instead of Rock Savage, I'm saying The Rock and
Sock Connection.
Yeah. And Iron Man match era Shawn Michaels.
That was on Kevin's card.
Yes, I had a triple header. This card is
I know they've
untoppable.
feuded before, right? Though
He's kicked him as a referee. Michaels was a referee, kicked him, but he still wasn't returning to wrestling, so it never happened.
Oh, I remember that. Wasn't that on like the first SmackDown?
Yeah, that was big stuff. So yeah, that match you must have happened. Rock Michaels never happened.
Wow, I thought they feuded during the time I didn't watch. That's interesting. That never happened.
It would have been good.
Because, I guess he came back as The Rock was on his way out. Huh.
Yeah, they just like always missed each other.
So, Danny, would you plug Lesnar in instead of Goldberg against Austin? Would you think that would be as big as Goldberg-Austin? Because I know you're a Lesnar guy. Okay,
it's definitely. I agree. Austin Goldberg is a dream match. I just don't think it's the biggest dream match. So I was surprised that you used Austin on that match rather than saving it for the Hogan match.
I mean, if you went to the era in the late 90s, more people would want to see Austin Goldberg than they would have wanted to see Hollywood Hogan versus Austin. I mean, it's just because nowadays, because Goldberg isn't a draw. That's the only reason I think why it's lost a bit. But if you're talking time frames, because that was the big feud for the one or two people that liked WCW, they'd be like, "Yo, because Goldberg was a ripoff of Stone Cold, obviously, look wise. I mean, he was different character, but
they wanted to make a better Austin.
Yeah. But at the time, that was fucking heated. It was like, this guy's got on a streak and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, but he sucks.
So the ultimate dream card, if you're looking at a card, do we need Austin to wrestle twice? Might be.
Does he have to open and close the show?
It might just be Austin versus Austin, then Goldberg versus Cena, and then Hogan's not even on it, and everyone's happy. You should have heard the endings to some of these matches. Sid was in the crowd. He got his ankle ripped off. Kurt Angle ripped off Sting's ankle. Whose ankle did he rip off? Sting?
He did Sting and then went to the crowd and
it was
ripped
crazy.
off Sid's.
People were fucking pulling their own teeth out in the audience. They loved it so much. They were ripping their hair out. It was fucking crazy. So what do you rank my card, Danny? Yours was a 3 out of 5 in my opinion. That tag match was a joke. What do you think of this card?
There's no way. That tag match is not a joke. You just hate tag wrestling.
What tag match?
Oh, I told him that I felt there should be at least one legitimate tag match on the card.
Oh my god!
And so for me, I always wanted to see LOD and Demolition because the card was about what we wanted to see, not building for the general public.
Yeah,
Okay.
but your card sucks because of that match.
Yeah, is this like a specialty match? Is this just a regular tag match?
We talked about the different
Is this like
possibilities.
a
It
dumpster
could
match
go
or
either
something?
way.
It's a clone match.
I don't know that either of those teams could really pull off any of the good specialty matches.
So, biasly or unbiasedly, 4 out of 5 on mine?
No, because the thing is Kevin gave me 3 out of 5. Not ranking in dream card matches, just compared to other regular pay-per-views.
I thought his dream
was not even like being legitimately fair.
We turned your card, instead of like Danny's dream card, it turned into Judgment Day. It was just a regular pay-per-view. It was terrible.
You're insane.
Mine is at least like a SummerSlam WrestleMania level.
I like that Austin and Hogan could fight. You know, Brett and HBK could fight again. The Rock and Randy Savage, and that's a pay-per-view in the middle of June to you.
Yeah, because it's garbage. Now,
You're
give
garbage.
me your honest grade after that.
Do you want me to grade it on dream cards or regular pay-per-views?
Dream cards.
Dream cards? I'd give it a 4.5 out of 5.
Fuck yeah! See, there we go. That was way better than what I was hoping for. You hyped it up like you were going to give me a 3.
Well, because I'm not going to shit on you just because you shit on me all the time.
That's good, because I'm looking for a friend that has that motto. So we'll get along great.
No one has the Kurt Angle versus Bret Hart match on there?
I do, but it's the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, he had them in the Elimination Chamber, and I tried to convince him that if he just went with Angle versus Bret in a standalone match by itself, that was better than any Elimination Chamber match with DDP in it.
That would be a great match.
That was my original pick, but it was going to be submission, but I wanted Scott Steiner involved for some reason. It wouldn't have made sense without him. So, Danny Richardson, you do this thing every week where you pick a terrible dream card and then grade mine, and then we argue about it, then you take us out. So I'm going to have Jim give it to you so you can take us out. Jim?
Oh, yeah. So, we're talking about dream cards. We're talking about wrestling. We're talking about the first SmackDown.
Wait, take it back to me first.
And then we got Kevin Scampoli.
I forgot to say, it's the whole fucking show, Danny Richardson, on the whole fucking show.info, fucking show on Twitter, fucking show podcast on YouTube, the whole fucking show on Facebook, but it's all on the whole fucking show.info. I'm Kevin Scampoli. I'm Ivan Cage, and I'm going to do this thing, because every week Danny takes us out. I'm going to give it to Jim. Jim's going to give it to Danny. Danny's going to take it to Black. Jim?
Now I'm gonna hand this over to Danny Richardson in a moment, but I just want to talk to the listener out there. Like, you're a lot like us. You know a lot about wrestling. You've been watching wrestling. You're a big fan. People, pick on you for it, and they say wrestling's fake, like you don't know, and they act like it's like a big deal. And you got really sad when Macho Man died. Well, Danny Richardson, what do you have to tell him?
Wow, you caught me off guard there, because I was going to take it actually off topic. I wanted to do something special this week. I told Kevin that I was going to scrap it since we didn't do the show on time this week.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, but, a lot of people get to tell him happy birthday on his Facebook. Some people text him happy birthday, but only one person gets to tell him happy birthday on their show. So I wanted to take the time to say happy birthday to my third favorite Scampoli.
Happy belated birthday, you should have said. Belated birthday.
Happy belated birthday.
But if you had told me in advance, we could have done like a Raw Rock's birthday special thing where we just made it all about that.
We could have done a clip show, just all your highlights.
Danny Richardson, thank you.
Real Kick Radio.